So, you want to know what the screens say in Star Wars? Here's everything you need to know. This is Aurebesh, designed by Joe Johnston for Return of the Jedi and standardized by Stephen Crane. It's the alphabet for basic in the Star Wars universe. It can be found on screens and signs in pretty much any Star Wars media, and learning to read it is surprisingly easy. This is the full alphabet. Every character has a name, but you don't need to know those to be able to read them. These characters here represent sounds that are made by combinations of letters in English, but in my experience I've yet to find them actually used on a screen in Star Wars, with most media just combining the two English letters that would make those sounds instead, so don't worry about those. These are the numbers, and yeah, they're just rectangular numbers with some of the lines taken out. That's not too hard. But they can throw you off if you've just learned the letters and you're trying to figure out what characters they are. And this is the punctuation, but just like a string of numbers, you can pretty quickly look at a sentence, figure out which bits of the punctuation, and ignore them. One last note is that several fan-made Aurebesh fonts distinguish capitalized characters by mirroring them. As far as I can tell, Star Wars does not do this. The quickest way to learn the alphabet is utinicast.com's Aurebesh trainer. It gives you the alphabet key and then presents you with a word in Aurebesh taken from a pool of words used in the movies. All you have to do is correctly type in the word in English. At first, you'll be checking every character on the key, but you'll gradually get faster as you start to remember the most commonly repeated ones. In my experience, the most common ones are A, E, R, H, S, O, and T. Once you learn these, you'll sometimes be able to tell what a word is just from recognizing some of the letters and then deducing what the rest must be. Even once you do learn the less common characters, this'll still speed up reading. Like this uses a Z, very uncommon, a lot of points in Scrabble, but I can tell that these are ILLO. And I've seen the episode, so I know this is called the Zillo Beast, so I know that must be a Z, even if I don't remember that that's what a Z looks like. Then you can start getting good at glancing at a word and figuring out what it says. But to get really good at that, you need to start making quick associations when looking at the characters. Here's how my brain processes them. Some, like the numbers, look similar to the letters they represent. So for example, the T looks like an upside down T. The G looks like a G flipped sideways. The H looks like an H flipped sideways. The S looks like a cursive S. The I looks like an I. Well, it looks like a 1, but you're not going to find a 1 in the middle of a word. The N looks like a backwards N. The L looks like a backwards L.
The strawberries taste like strawberries. The snozberries taste like snozberries.
The R looks like a backwards lowercase r. The O looks like a particularly trapezoidal O, but I'll get back to that. The Q has a gap where an English Q would have a sticky outy bit. And the U looks like a U with a broken arm. Now for some of my weirder associations. There are some letters that look like other English letters. I'm sure that sounds confusing at first, but pretty early on you might find yourself speeding up by saying the one that looks like a K is an A. The V looks exactly like a Y, and the Y looks like a V, so remembering Y is V and V is Y is also helpful. The E looks like the Roman numerals for 6. There's probably something about Aurebesh being invented for episode 6 in there somewhere, but I just remember that if it looks like VI, it's E. The K looks like a backwards C. Both make K sounds, so that makes it easier to remember that a backwards C is a K is a K. Along with N and F, J is one of the few characters with a bendy bit, and J's are bendy, so you can remember this character by saying it's bendy, it's a J. The D looks very similar to the Aurebesh R, with the only difference being that it has an extra line. You'd think this would make them easy to mix up, but it actually just makes you memorize both quicker, because as you're learning, you have to start making that distinction. If it has the extra line, it's a D. If it doesn't, it's an R. And this is a silly way to remember it, but the F is the bendy one with a straight line going through it. It goes through it, so it's an F. Yep, that's actually how I remember that. Maybe say it in a British accent. Yeah, that's the F there, like, it's the one that's got a line going through it, that's mint, that is. Those are all the ones I have techniques for. For the rest, it's kind of just, this lightning bolt thing is a C, this treasure chest thing is a B, this square bracket thing is an M, this envelope thing is a P. Envelope. P. B, C, M, and P are pretty common, so you'll learn them quickly anyway. The square is a W and the triangle is an X. W and X are uncommon, so until you learn them, you can use the context of the other letters to know which one they are, like that Z I showed you earlier. And the square as a W is surprisingly easy to remember.
All these squares make
A W, especially when you have to distinguish it from the O, which looks similar. And the X is a triangle, which also looks similar to the O, so like with the D and the R, use the distinction to remember all three at once. And that's all the letters. Use the Utinicast trainer, and after you've trained for a while, maybe while listening to a podcast or a YouTube video or something so you don't get too bored, pull up some Star Wars to test your skills. You can also use this quiz on sporkle.com to help nail down those uncommon characters. And that's it. Happy travels, may the Force be with you, this is the way.